What some area motorcyclists are doing to put a smile on the face of a very sick little girl. Well, Kyle Thompson says he just wants to turn his passion into a business, but he says the city is standing in his way. After 14 hours, the search is over for a missing fisherman on Saylorville Lake. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Brilbeck Dec has the night off tonight. Well, investigators say the search began around midnight just north of the mile-long bridge and Lincoln access to Saylorville Lake. Well, Des Moines police have arrested a teenager who they believe shot a man to death on Friday evening. 17-year-old Keith Collins is charged with first-degree murder. His arrest came just hours after police say he shot 24-year-old Aaron McHenry just outside of a home on the 2400 block of Hickman Lane. Authorities say Collins will be charged as an adult in the case. The victim was from Rockford, Illinois. Police are not sure if he had an address here in Des Moines. Well, West Des Moines School District is proposing to rezone elementary schools for the second time in 7 years.
Like our family's been going there for 30 years. So my husband went there, his little brother went there. Now our kids are going there.
This afternoon, parents had the chance to share their opinions on the plans in the first of 3 public meetings. An Iowa woman sentenced to life behind bars without parole when she was just 15 years old has died. Tonight, her former cellmate talks about the lessons we can all learn from her life. Some local teens may have been exposed to chemicals while detasseling corn, why their bus driver is so nervous about it, and why the big company that hired them isn't. A spokeswoman for the Sheriff's Department refused to turn over the dash camera video of the incident, even though she acknowledges it is public information. She says first she has to run it past the county prosecutor's office, even though she also acknowledges that there's no law or regulation requiring her to do so. In the end, she said she's not releasing the video to us because she can, by law, withhold it from the public for up to 10 days. J.D. Mitchell of Rose Hill is furious that his city council approved a resolution to put the community's only school bus stop right across the street from a Tier 3 sex offender.
Iowa's had all kinds of issues with sex offenders lately, but yet Rose Hill wants to put a bus stop right across the street from me.
The plan is to put the bus stop here, just feet away from the home of 40-year-old Joey Keene, who was convicted in 1996 of sexually abusing a child. Rose Hill's mayor says he understands why some parents could be upset by the idea of having their kids wait for the school bus right across the street from a convicted pedophile.
Oh, I can see where they would be, yeah. Mine are growed up and gone, so like I say, it's not affecting me none.
Besides, the mayor says this is no big deal.
Oh, he's not like he's did nothing major, and I really don't know what he did to put a judgment against him. You know, sometimes they get that just for dumb little things.
This woman doesn't think it's a dumb little thing. We're shielding her identity because Keene was convicted of raping her daughter.
Oh, it's hard knowing what he did. He victimized a 2-year-old little girl. I was horrified. I couldn't believe that he had done that to a little girl. And I know if he ever had a chance again, he'd do it. I know he would.
About 15 minutes after we interviewed the mayor, he came back to us and said that he misunderstood the resolution that he voted on and that it has nothing at all to do with a school bus, even though it clearly says school bus on the resolution. The mayor says that's just in case Keene ever moves away, they can put a school bus there if they want to. But again, that's not what the resolution says.
There is no logic to it. I mean, it's a simple case of not really caring. You know, you're not thinking about the kids.
Beer cans marked the spot where 25-year-old Leighton Fitz died after he was shot by police. Officers say he came out this door with a gun in one hand, so they were forced to shoot him. Take a look at the cell phone video. It shows state troopers and Iowa Falls police opening fire on Fitz back on April 17th, killing him. Police say Fitz never fired a shot at them, but take a closer look at this video again. You can see rounds hitting near the officer's feet, and this video shows where rounds struck the building behind state troopers. If Fitz didn't fire any rounds and there weren't any other shooters, what you're seeing in this video is cops shooting at cops, missing each other by, in some cases, just inches. Andrew Bonine shot the cell phone video and saw Fitz get gunned down.
He was like this because I know he threw his cell phone at the police, and he had his hands in like this, and he was digging for something, I think, and the police said, pull your hands out, so he goes like this. And his hands get up right about here, and then they start shooting him.
According to the Attorney General's office, there were 3 officers positioned near this pickup truck, 6 across the street from Fitz, and another 4 behind the home, and witnesses say on the stairs between the home and the garage. So when police opened fire, they were essentially shooting at each other, with Fitz caught in the middle.
Well, you could have cops shooting other cops. So in that case, you know, I saw a couple rounds that were near hits. So I mean, they're lucky. They're lucky to be alive.
Fox says when state police noticed other officers coming up the stairs, they should have spread out so there was no chance of officers hitting officers.
That's what your main goal is safety. You have to know your target and what is beyond it. If you don't, it all goes out the window.
Fox says the number of shots fired by police is also disturbing. He's guessing 40 to 50 rounds. Now, when we slow down this video, you can see Fitz is hit and falls to the ground. But police continue firing a full 6 seconds after Fitz is down. Family members tell us Fitz was struck 17 times.
After they shot him, the cops were running around. I mean, they were high-fiving each other, hugging each other, congratulating. It was like a party.
Bradley Mayland is Fitz's stepbrother. He has the keychain that Fitz had in his pocket when he was shot. It has at least 3 bullet holes in it.
He was on the ground when they were still shooting on him. That doesn't make sense to me. He's on the ground. Why are you still firing? If this ain't a video game, you know, they can just, hey, we can unload all our weapons on this. We finally get a situation to unload all of our weapons. It just doesn't make sense that, why does it have to be my brother that's laying there on the cold concrete?
Aaron Brilbeck has the exclusive interview first on 13.
It still has the buckshot all in there.
Valerie Longstreth thought it would be the last night of her life. The night she answered her door to find her soon-to-be ex-husband, Randy, standing there with a shotgun.
So I opened the door a little bit, and I seen him standing there with a gun, so I shut the door real quick and locked it, and I moved over a little bit, and that's when the first gunshot went through the door. And my son was in his bedroom.
Valerie tells us one after another, Randy fired 4 shots, here, 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 and over here, to try to wipe out the locks before he kicked in the door. Valerie grabbed her phone to call 911 and ran to get her 14-year-old son.
Time we got to the back room and got down on the ground, he was already in the house. And that's when he started firing and ordered us to come out of the bedroom and sit on the couch.
For 2 hours, Randy held Valerie and her son Nathan at gunpoint, talking with her.
And that he wanted me back and that he loved me. Put a shotgun to my head and told me he loved me. He held my son at gunpoint at a 14-year-old. Something changes your life when you see your son with a gun in his stomach.
At one point, Valerie says Randy ordered her son to go outside to his car and get more shotgun shells, that he was going to kill all 3 of them. Nathan stepped outside and was grabbed by police.
And then he wanted me to open the back sliding black door and shut the lights off so he could see if any cops showed up, he was going to blow away whoever came up on the patio.
A few minutes later, Valerie saw her chance to escape.
Told me to go get him something to drink, and when I went up to the back into the kitchen to get him something to drink, that's when I slipped out the back door.
For the next 4 hours, police negotiators talked with Randy, eventually getting him to give up.
Trying to get him to understand that, you just need to turn himself in, put the firearms down, and come out.
Valerie doesn't think this is over. She says she knows one day Randy will be out of prison.
Sitting there on the couch, he says, if I go to the loony bin or the jail when I get out, I'll come back and finish it.
Take a look at this. This is security video taken inside Blakesburg City Hall, showing Police Chief Bob Lewis pointing a gun toward a city councilman. Look again. Another city council member touches the chief's arm while he is leaning on the window. Then he draws his gun and points it toward a city councilman who is behind a thin door.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was stupid. Whether he knew somebody was on the other side of the door, I mean, I feel that he probably did.
It was done in bad taste. It may have been supposed to be a joke, but somebody who is in a position of authority, and it's something that never ever should have been done.
Now, the police chief did not respond to our request for a comment, but he tells city council he was just testing out his holster to see how fast he could draw his gun if he had to.
It just doesn't seem to me that that's what you would do. He could have done it any place else, but you don't point it at someone.
And that's not all. The security video was taped back in April, but Chief Lewis was reprimanded about it during this week's city council meeting. So he drew his loaded weapon again during the crowded meeting to show city council a round was not chambered.
He took the clip out and laid it on the bench there, which I appreciate him doing that, but there were some people that were really concerned about that. Should it have been done? Probably that wasn't the best thing to do.
The mayor says Chief Lewis should be punished. he's just not sure how yet.
I don't want to ruin a person's career. I just don't know. It's just so tricky. And I consider Bob a friend, but at the same time, I got to look out for the community.
You'd have a hard time finding any homes here in Adair that weren't impacted by the storm. Everything from windows smashed out and holes in aluminum siding from baseball-sized hail to damaged roofs, fallen power lines, and downed tree limbs. Just outside of town, the damage is even worse. Acres and acres of crops are just leveled. 7-year-old Aaliyah Plagman was riding in the backseat of her babysitter's car when the storm hit, smashing the windshield with huge hailstones.
I thought it was like gonna come through and hit me. It was like being in a 3D movie.
The pair pulled over, ducked down, and waited out the storm.
I was sitting down with my back like this, and I covered my ears because it was so loud.
Chuck Huff heard it too. He says it sounded like a machine gun as heavy hailstones pounded his home, punching hundreds of holes in the siding and blowing out windows.
It came and it just started peppering the house and the roof, and it shot through the windows at such velocity that it didn't even move the blinds. It just shot right through them. The water came through, and we literally had a small creek running through the back, probably 2.5 feet high water rapids running down, and the ice is still just, collected there.
Even 2 hours after the storm, these hailstones are still huge, many of them the size of a quarter or even bigger. The homeowner tells us they were much bigger than this when the storm first hit. In all, the storm only lasted about half an hour, but the damage left in its wake will take days, maybe weeks, to clean up.
If you've never been in a situation, you think, oh, that's terrible, and then when you go through it, you really feel it.
In Adair, Aaron Brilbeck, Channel 13 News.